Yeah, the dream I had was I was in this small town, um, and I was walking around for some reason, but then I heard this noise up above, and I look up into the sky, and there's this passenger jet plane flying, and both of the engines on the plane were trailing smoke. And my thought was that plane is in trouble, but it looked like it was flying low enough and slow enough that it was going to make it like to the nearest airport, I thought. But as I watched it, the nose of the plane began to rise and to lift upwards, and it kept going up until I realized something was desperately wrong. But it went straight up, and the nose went up, and then it went completely over and came straight down and crashed into the ground into a fiery ball. Um, at that moment, I decided I am close enough, I can run toward it. And so I began to run across these couple of fields that I figured I could make it up there to the wreckage for anybody really. But I got to the wreckage, and there was already a line of people, or men more or less, holding this yellow construction tape to barricade people from getting to the wreckage. But I went down to the end of it, and when I got into the end of it, this man came out of the wreckage to me, and he had a note in his hand, and he handed me this note. And it says, "Is there a newspaper in the local town that can publish this? Can you get it to them?" And I said, "Yes, I can." And there's a paper there, but it's local. But I mean, I'll take the note. And he said, "Please." So I took the note, and I began to run toward the town. But as before I went to the newspaper office, I decided I wanted to see what the note said. So I opened up the note, and there was a message at the top of it. It says, "We need help. Please find as many people as you can find and send us help." And then below that was just a list of the of dead people that they have already basically identified from the wreckage. I assume that's what it was. But I folded it back up, and then I took it to the along the row of buildings to the newspaper, and I began to knock on the door because he was closed, kind of like it was already evening time or whatever. But I was knocking on the door desperately, trying to get his attention. I'd back off, then I'd knock again, and all of a sudden I saw a light come on inside the building, and he came down, he opened the door and said, "What do you want? What do you want?" I said, "We have had a plane crash, and I have this note I want you, this man wants you to publish in the paper." And so he took the note, and he actually read it, and he said, "Well, yeah, okay." So he went over to his other building, and he opened the doors, which looked like a printing office, and he went in, and then I decided to leave. Well, some other things happened a little later in the dream, and it was kind of like the next morning. I wanted to go see what he published in the paper, and I go down to the office, and there was outside this newspaper stand that had rolls of papers in it, but there was this one roll that was special editions that had a red top on it that you could identify as a special edition. So I take that, and I'll take the red top off, reach in and pull the paper out, and it was like the Wall Street Journal type. It had pictures of the wreckage and the wreck and the story. And I asked him, "How did you do that? Where did you get all this information?" Because from last night or something like that. He said, "Well, I am." Basically, he was very proud that he had an exclusive and was the first to report this story to the world. That's kind of the dream.